Welcome to This Explainer. You know, a lot of people think of blogging as just a fun little side hobby, right? Well, today, we're completely reframing that into a highly structured, professional career blueprint. If you've ever thought about turning your ideas, your passions, and your words into an actual living, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to map out your comprehensive guide to becoming a professional blogger.
Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the anatomy of a blogger, your educational pathway, how to fund that education, choosing the right institute, your career growth and earnings, and finally, wrap it up with a real-world success story.
All right, Section 1, the anatomy of a blogger. Do you have the DNA?
So what actually is a professional blogger? Well, based on our sources, they're way more than just writers. Sure, you're writing regularly for an online journal or website, but listen to these verbs. You are generating and pitching ideas, editing posts, promoting content, and diving into deep research. It's like being a one-person media engine. And why does all this matter? Because your follower count literally dictates your page's popularity. A popular blog brings in the ads, and ads, my friends, are your primary source of income.
As a pro in this space, you're constantly balancing a bunch of creative and technical tasks all at once. You're juggling fresh ideas, the actual writing, the digital tools. It's a lot. You aren't just sitting around waiting for a brilliant spark of inspiration to hit you. Nope, you are actively managing a digital product day in and day out.
So who actually thrives doing all this? Well, you need a specific mix of traits. First, having varied and unique interests is absolutely crucial. That's what fuels your content. Then, excellent communication skills act as your delivery vehicle, while a solid familiarity with IT skills is your engine. And here's the kicker. You gotta be comfortable working in a team. I know, blogging sounds like a solo gig, but to really scale, you'll be collaborating with editors, PR folks, and tech support all the time.
Moving on to Section 2, your educational pathway, the academic roadmap. Believe it or not, there's actually a super structured, formal pathway for this career. Step 1 is pretty straightforward. Finish your 10+2, and the great news is that can be in literally any subject. Step 2 is where you start to specialize. You'll want to grab a bachelor's degree. Advertising, journalism, or marketing are perfect here. Or you can just do a bachelor's in any discipline and tack on a postgraduate diploma in IT. Finally, Step 3. You top the whole thing off with a master's degree, like an MA or MBA in marketing management or marketing communication. Talk about a solid foundation.
Next up, Section 3, funding your education, making it happen.
Okay, let's talk numbers, because education is a serious investment. Your baseline course fees are actually going to start at a pretty accessible 15,000 rupees. But a quick heads up, depending on the exact institute and the length of the program you choose, that number can scale all the way up to 3 lakh rupees.
So how do we pay for that? You basically have two main lifelines here: scholarships and education loans. For scholarships, the National Scholarship Portal is going to be your absolute best friend. It connects you to central, state, and UGC or AICTE schemes. Plus, a lot of institutes have their own merit-based scholarships. Now, if you're leaning towards a loan, check out the Vijayalakshmi portal. It's backed by the government. Also, definitely look into state-specific student credit cards. States like West Bengal, Odisha, and Bihar offer these with super low interest rates. So the financial support is definitely out there.
All right, Section 4, choosing your institute, where to study.
Now that the funding is sorted, where do you actually go? Typically, you're looking at departments of journalism and mass media. For government institutes, you've got amazing options like Miranda House and Hindu College in New Delhi, Loyola College in Chennai, or St. Xavier's in Ahmedabad. If you prefer private, you're looking at top-tier places like Christ University in Bengaluru, MIT Symbiosis, or SRM University. But, and this is a huge but, from our sources, if you go the private route, always make sure the institute is UGC affiliated and accredited before you apply.
Section 5, career growth and earnings, the reality check.
So what does the day-to-day actually look like? You've got 4 main environments. You could be a professional blogger hired by an organization working a standard 40-hour office week on their corporate sites. Or you might want more freedom as a freelance blogger, getting paid project by project. You could also pivot to being a vlogger, creating video content for YouTube. And then there's full-on entrepreneurship, just running your own personal blog. But a quick reality check here. Whether you're in a fancy office or on your couch, overtime is super common when deadlines hit. So yeah, get ready for some late nights and plenty of coffee.
The cool thing is, you aren't just stuck in one spot. The growth here is really dynamic. You might kick things off as an intern, then officially step into a blogger role. From there, you could level up to a writer and editor, maybe even specialize as a technical writer, and eventually become a web content manager. It's a very clear, documented path that leads right up into management.
Grounding this in some financial reality, your starting monthly salary is typically going to sit right around 21,498 to 23,139 rupees. And remember, that is just step 1 before you start climbing that management ladder we just talked about. Finally, Section 6, Real-World Success Story, Example from the Field.
Okay, to prove that this blueprint actually works and isn't just a bunch of theory, let's look at someone who took these exact steps and turned them into phenomenal real-world success. It really shows what happens when you mix a formal education with a deep personal passion.
Our source highlights Uma Ragaraman. Her huge passion for food and healthy eating pushed her to start her blog, MasterChef Mom, nearly 2 decades ago, way before blogging was even a mainstream thing. Today, she isn't just a chef, she's literally one of the top food bloggers in India. And she took it even further, using her platform to conduct Indian home cooking workshops both in India and abroad. She didn't just build a blog with some tasty recipes, she built an entire global brand.
We've laid out the whole shebang for you. The personality traits you need, the academic roadmap, the funding options, and the massive potential for growth. The path is crystal clear. So the only question left for you is, when are you going to start writing your own success story?